So, welcome to episode, I think it's 3 at this point, of the StoneLine Climbing Podcast. I'm here again with Dom.
Hi.
We're going to have a bit of a conversation, just generally about climbing, maybe kind of delve into some trip preparation things. We're going to Rocklands in South Africa in a few weeks. We're both carrying a few injuries at the moment, mostly finger related. So we're going to, I guess, chat a little bit about how we're managing those, what you can do managing an injury up to a trip, how we're trying to stay sane.
It's definitely trying to stay sane.
And then things like that. So, yeah. So, what are we, 2.5... We're 2.5 weeks out.
Yep.
And
2 weekends away.
I've had a bunch of tenosynovitis, and what have you had?
I've had tenosynovitis, and I've got an A2 pulley strain in my middle left finger.
So you got a bit of everything.
I got a bit of everything.
So when did you start having these issues?
So my tenosynovitis was probably about a month or two before our Switzerland trip.
Oh, so you've had this since December. So we're now in June 2025. You've had this stuff since
October
2024.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's been more like 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah, it's quite a while.
I've been dealing with it for some time. I also feel like I'm on the end of the tenosynovitis, but it also that's what it kind of feels like. It's like you feel like you're on the end of it, but actually you haven't even started yet.
It's kind of slow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a slow burn, and it's really, really one of the most annoying ones to deal with, if I'm honest.
Yeah. So I mean, we've been trying to do some pretty similar things, really, because we've been in a similar boat. But what have you been trying to do in the last kind of 2 or 3 months to prepare for? Like, you haven't been to Rocklands before, have you?
No. Well, it's kind of hard because like this is the first time I've had injuries where climbing hasn't felt possible all the time. So it's kind of hard to keep the brain sane for this trip, and trying to prepare for a trip of a lifetime, really. But sometimes it's just trying to remember that it's all about I'm going to Rocklands. Not many people get to go to Rocklands.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to work around these little things. With the Tino, I kind of just like stopped fingerboarding, like hanging from a fingerboard on there.
Yeah. Doing lifts instead?
Yeah, just doing lifts, because it's a bit more controlled and a bit more easier to manage.
Yeah.
And that seems to have that's when I really noticed the difference with my finger. And then I got some voodoo shit from Huffy as well to try, which is where you've been trying as well.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've had this now since about start of April, maybe end of March. So I had a stint of it last year, and then it kind of went away before we went to Chino in December, and then it started to flare up again. Yeah, the end of March, start of April, and it's one of those things. I think for me, synovitis, where it's not like a pulley where bam rupture or like strain.
It's almost like you prefer a rupture.
Yeah, well, you know what you're dealing with, and I mean, I think it's easy enough to get rid of synovitis in the early stages if you're smart and if you're sensible.
Because you can always feel it coming.
You can feel it coming on.
Yeah.
You can just feel like, it feels a bit weird. It feels a bit weird, and then obviously that sheath's getting more and more irritated, and then eventually you end up with like that stiffness, that fatness in the finger, and then you end up with like pulley actual,
pulley
you feel it in the pulley as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more been about, I think I should have taken time off sooner than I did. I think we were about 12 weeks out when I took, I think, a week off of no climbing and just lifting.
Yeah.
But in reality, I probably should have taken a week off completely and just not done anything for a week.
And I remember you telling me as well, like, about like your finger playing up, and then like the next session you went to dinners. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh, I'm just gonna play, and then you just aggravated it way more.
It's so easy to piss it off, isn't it? And I think when you know you've got a bigger trip coming up, you just need to sit back and say, right, I'm gonna look to that and not think about this local project that I want to get done and this local project that I want to get done and like rush in and
like these projects are not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere and they're home and I can try and
they're possible because you got close to doing them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You should actually just take a step back.
Yeah,
it's easy me saying this now as well because I don't do the same thing.
Well, exactly, and this is some of the time I think where having a coach is probably more useful to someone to actually just tell you stop,
do
this, do that, and
take a break.
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference.
And more often than not, taking a break, you actually get so much better.
Yeah.
You're resting your body, your muscles are resting, your fingers are actually taking their time to take care of themselves rather than like constantly bashing them every day.
Yeah. So what do you think when we get there now? What do you think your actual like process is going to be on the first couple of days? Like, do you think you're going to go and try 7As, 7Bs?
I mean, like, if you were to ask me this question, like,
couple of days ago or a week ago
or a couple of days ago even, I probably would have been like, I want to smash everything. But obviously today I woke up with my finger hurting a bit more again. So now I'm a bit more like, I don't know. I think it's just changing the mindset from like, all right, I'm not going to go and try and send as hard as possible. I'm maybe just going to go and just have some fun with my friends and just enjoy the fact that I'm in Rocklands and just be appreciative of where we are, and just have fun.
I think sometimes injuries let you do that more than when you're not injured. I think sometimes when you're not injured, your expectations are higher. There's more like desire. There's nothing kind of in your way directly, and you're like, well, there's no excuse. If I don't do X, Y, and Z, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
I was just not able to do it. Whereas I think when you've got an injury, I don't know, it takes, for me at least, it takes a lot of the, I don't want to say stress, but it takes a bit more of the sort of pressure or like, a bit of the edge off feeling like I've really got to do this or I've at least got to have a shot at doing something. So
you also get like the little bit of the external pressures of like, we both sponsored. We both want to perform because we want our sponsors not to be happy, but like we want to like prove that we're worth something in a sense,
I think these
at
days,
least for me that is.
I don't feel
maybe
that.
not so much for you.
No, I don't feel it. What I do feel is that I think these days you can provide value in different ways. It doesn't have to be, I did X. I think a lot of the time most companies would probably prefer, here's 50 photos and 20 videos rather than, I did these boulders, but I've got not a single thing to show you for it.
And I think actually the thing I've noticed as well, like especially with like my sponsors, is that like when I'm a bit more real as well, they're a bit more like, they're really supportive and they're always commenting and checking that I'm okay and like so really like I think it's more external inside my own head rather than like the actual pressures that they put on.
It's always more in your own head than it is, I think, from the outside.
But if you were to ask me like after Switzerland, I would have told you I'm climbing every boulder I jump on. Do you know what I mean? I was in probably the best form of my life. Just like had so much fun in Switzerland. I fell off a bunch of hard shit and I was in such a good headspace that like I wasn't like, didn't walk away from that trip feeling disappointed for not doing the stuff that I really wanted to do, which is usually a good thing for me. What about yourself? Because I know you had a really good Switzerland trip.
I think going into this trip now, I think it'd be a little bit easier for me. I've been to South Africa twice, so I've done a reasonable amount of like the 8A to 8A plus things that like I'm capable of doing, and the 8A and 8A plus and 8B things that I haven't done. A lot of them are literal dynos, which I'm not going to try this time anyway.
Like backwards dynos.
Well, like
where you
full
throw
on,
in
like
backwards,
through fucking roofs and shit, or like 4 meter.
It's almost like Godzilla Bibblins,
it's
where
like,
instead of going one hand, you have to go with two hands.
or you're just like trying to jump up a fucking side of somebody's house. Do you know what I mean? It's
or
like
that one problem where you gotta do a dyno and then there's another literal dyno afterwards.
A lot of them are. They're like dyno from break
like
to a
9
break,
meters high.
and then dyno from another break to another break, and so it's easier for me to filter going to Rocklands because I'm like, right, dyno, ignore, dyno, ignore, dyno, ignore, and that's not that's partly because A, I'm just not that good at them, but B, I'm not 6 foot. Like, I think it's always, I think naturally the shorter people are always not going to be as good at the height dependent dynos. There's a reason why a lot of people say, Rainbow Rocket, 7C if you're this height,
Yeah.
8A if you're this height, blah 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 blah. But I think so. I will be able to filter a lot of that stuff out. I think the main thing I'd like to do is try the things that I'm psyched for. Even like on the first day or two, we've not got that long a trip really, have we? We've got 3 weeks
maybe
travel,
2 days of travel
either side. You're talking like just over 2 weeks of climbing actually, which isn't that long to be there.
And that's if we have good weather as well. Like,
that's if we have good weather. If we don't have good weather, I'm cancelling my flight and staying for another month. So I'm not even joking. I've actually looked into it.
I don't think I can afford to do that.
You can. So yeah,
we're
for
just
me,
not going to go Austria. We're just going to
stay there for another month. So for me, it's looking into trying the things that I'm really motivated to try. That I the life goal things. So like monkey wedding is the main thing. Maybe
you tried that on your.
I tried it. Yeah, I tried it the last time I
trip,
went,
right?
but there was 2 moves I didn't do.
And you've got a replica on your.
I did. Yeah, I did set one. I don't know how accurate it is. I mean, but I think for me, monkey wedding will just boil down to the 2 moves: the big move out to the right to the edge, and then the left hand move after that.
And it has been done by shorter people.
Yeah, it's been done by shorter people. Yeah, it's been done by people my height or shorter. So there's no excuse. It's
definitely
just
possible.
It's possible. Yeah, it's just whether I'd be good enough to do it. So I want to try that, and then I think climbing on some like mid 7s would be good. I think the last time I went, I didn't do hardly any of the low to, or I guess like the mid, like 7B to 7C plus stuff. I didn't do hardly any of that stuff, and I think the crew that we're going to be with are going to want to do a good amount of that stuff.
I think that's going to be the majority of my trip.
I think that'll be the range where we'll probably spend a lot of time climbing.
And as well, just remember back to your like Aberdeen trip, where you just went and did everything between like 7A to like
just doing loads of boulders can sometimes be more fun. I don't always enjoy it actually. I don't always enjoy going out and doing like 5 to 10 boulders in a day. A lot of the time I'd prefer going to do 2 or 3 boulders in a day. Like if I could go and do an 8A, an 8A plus, or an 8B or something like around that range in a day, that'd be pretty nice. If I could do that every day for like a trip in somewhere new area I haven't been before, I would do that. Even if it's like just do like an 8A and an 8A plus one day, and then an 8A the next day, maybe it's like an easier day, and then kind of just.
For me, it just depends on like my headspace, like on what what do I need at the time? Do I need to just go and project? Yeah. I'll just go project.
You could have different trips.
Do I need to like send a lot of boulders to get my confidence back up as well? Like because I feel like that's sometimes where people go wrong. Yeah. Is the confidence. Because they don't go and do a bunch of boulders and they just project year round.
You definitely need to have I think the amount of people that I see that just go to a boulder and don't do it, and then go to a boulder and don't do it, and then go to another boulder and don't do it, and then go to another boulder and don't do it. You're essentially just reinforcing, I go to boulders and I don't do them.
I can't do something.
I go to a boulder, I can't do it. I go to another boulder, I can't do it. I go to another boulder, I can't do it. I might go back to the first boulder. It was closer, but I can't do it. I go to another boulder, I can't do it. You might take you might go 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks without doing a boulder of any level that's like challenging to you. And I think that's the most. I was chatting about this with somebody yesterday. It's the most, I think, one of the most detrimental things you can do in your climbing is to not get boulders done. I think you need to find that what I call that base level where you can go to a boulder, either usually do it. It's something you can usually consistently do in a session. Go to those boulders around that level, get them done. What it does is it actually just makes it easier to do boulders in general, A, at that level, but B, it just allows you to kind of slowly increase it. Whereas if you're constantly going something that's on that upper end, that's maybe like 90%, unless everything's perfect a lot of the times, you're not going to do those boulders. If you can bring it down, you've got a way higher chance.
I mean, me looking back to my 2022 year where I my second year of climbing, I really shot up. Like the start of the year, I was like focused on doing.
You did a lot of boulders.
I just did a lot of boulders. I didn't start with like 8 days and 8 pluses because I was nowhere near that yet.
You hadn't climbed them.
All I cared about doing was like this 7B plus, that 7B plus, that 7B, that 7A, that 7A plus.
So if you look at that, the start of that year, probably, I mean, maybe the end of the year before 2021 and then 2022. You start 2022, you went to Albarracin, you were climbing probably quite a lot of stuff in the UK, 7B plus, 7C, 7C, 7B plus, 7C. April, then you climb your first 8A. And you climbed your first 8A off the back of
doing so many
3 or 4, 5 or 6 months of going out, like with Leo, you were going out probably three or four times a week, climbing 7C, 7B plus. and that range. So that like climbing at that range literally unlocked 8A for you.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was pretty similar.
8A plus.
Yeah, and the next grade in the same year.
So
yeah, I think there's so much to be said for that. I think that's the one.
But there's also the other side of it then. Whereas I am now, that I've done so many of those boulders, especially in Wales, like South Wales.
Yeah.
It's harder to have.
Yeah, it's harder
those
to have
boulders
because
I don't have them.
yeah. There's still probably a bunch we could go to today, and you could go and try and do 7B, 7B plus, 7C, but they're like there are less of them.
Yeah.
So and I think that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with is then saying, okay, I'm gonna go to this 7B, this 7B plus, this 7C, because they might be in different crags.
And I've definitely gone into that bad mindset of like, I want to go try hard shit. If I'm honest, I want to try hard shit.
Yeah.
Like,
that's.
But reminding yourself that your 2022 year was so good because you
of this.
did the stepping stones, not because you just rushed into what you wanted, Yeah. And it was the same when we went to Switzerland as well, I didn't know what type of shape I was going to be in. What did we start off with? We started off low. I built the stepping stones, and then it built up to the harder stuff.
Yeah. I think you could do it in a year of climbing. I think you could do it in a trip.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you could say, okay, well, why aren't you thinking about doing that? Why aren't I thinking about doing that for Rocklands now? But I think I'm also thinking about, okay, I want to climb something that's close enough to my limit that in 3 weeks I need to hit the ground running fairly quickly. I don't have much time to waste. I'm not saying I won't try 8A and 8A plus and 8B stuff.
But also with you as well, like you've actually done those stepping stones, like
in that place,
but
also,
in general.
In general, yeah. But in the last 6 months, not really. You know, and that's why I wanted to have a couple of these little North Wales weekends and just a few days of going out and climbing boulders.
Yeah.
To top that up a little bit. I think if you've got that big bank and wealth of it and you're climbing over the years, then you can have maybe periods of projecting for 3 or 4 months, and then maybe just spend a month topping up on like the base level stuff and just rebuilding your execution. Like, okay, I can do AA plus in a session. I could do AA quickly.
Yeah.
That's, I think, it's just constantly assessing. Okay, what am I feeling?
Yeah.
Do I feel like my IQ is a bit low? Yeah. Okay, then maybe I just need to go and do some 8AA plus stuff to build that back up. Or, do I feel like, right, I'm actually going pretty well now. I've built a bit of a base up nicely. I'm happy to just spend 3 or 4 months.
And you know when you've got a good base, because like even in like your worst shape, you can still go do the grade that you're comfortable doing.
Your base level.
Like, I can still go to anywhere. Like in Rocklands, I could probably still go and climb 7C plus or 8A.
I think most 7Cs in Rocklands you could probably do. The dynos, you're going to be same as me. You're not going to do. But I think you want to be able to go to most boulders of what you perceive, I think, as your base level. And a lot of the time, actually, in reality, maybe your base level is, or I would say people's base level is maybe not always exactly what they think it is.
Yeah.
They may think, my base level is like 7B. But okay, ask yourself, can you go and climb 7B or almost any 7B almost any time you go? If the answer is no, then it's probably not your base level.
Yeah.
Maybe 7A plus or 7A is your base level. I think,
and being a bit more realistic with that as well.
Yeah, and being realistic with it and being willing to accept the ego hit of being like, okay, sometimes my base level's been 8A plus. I have to push maybe where I can. Most 8A plus I can do in a session.
Yeah.
Sometimes my base level's been about there. A lot of the time it's lower. It's like 8A or 7C plus.
Yeah.
And
For
sometimes
me it's like 7C.
Sometimes is it an ego hit to take that it's maybe 7C or 7C plus?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to be climbing the 8s. Yeah. But
that's not realistic as well.
It's not
from
realistic.
Where you're feeling and where you are at that time.
Yeah. And how important it is to actually then just be like, okay, do you know what? I'm going to try and climb these 7Cs and 7C pluses in a new area that I go to. I think is what you need to do rather than to just try and... my base level's 8A, and then just you go into 8As and you're not doing them, and then like, but my base level's 8A. Well, maybe it's not at the moment. Maybe it's 7C. So... And
especially with our injuries as well, like, our base level is going to be so different to what it was like 3 months ago.
Exactly,
at least mine is definitely,
Yeah, because you've done less climbing on new boulders. You spent a lot of time just rehabbing and not actually climbing outside and trying the same things.
I'm just mostly inside, just trying to climb on boulders, don't aggravate my finger.
Yeah, so you're not building the IQ. You're not able to go 100%. That's the hardest thing, I think, when you've had an injury is you can't go 100%. Then when suddenly... you're trying to go 100. It's hard to get used to going 100% again. And that's, I think, the thing that I'm consciously thinking that I'll need to build in Rocklands is like the first 2 or 3 sessions maybe that I try some of the harder things might just be pretty half-hearted and look like I'm not really trying, because I'm just trying to feel my way in a little bit, like.
And also as well, trying to get acclimated to, like, we just been on a flight.
Yeah, you'll have been flying, traveling. I mean, we're going to do near enough, like, 3 days of travel altogether. You know, when you factor in going to Manchester, getting a flight, then there to Dubai or wherever it is, then there to Rocklands, like, and then the drive in the other side, pick up a car, blah blah blah. Yeah. So it's near enough, like 2.5 days of travel. So, but yeah, I think for me then, when you're coming off the back of like injuries, it's letting yourself feel into those positions and those moves more slowly. Yeah. So for me, it'll just be getting on like monkey wedding and just feeling the positions and doing the moves, but with like 50%. Yeah. And then have a rest day and be like, okay, how's my finger feel after that? Does it feel good? Does it feel? How does my
body feel?
Yeah, like does it? Yeah, because I think as well, it's tempting the first day to just go hammer and tongs. Yeah. And then you wake up the next day, and you're like, oh my god, I'm fucked. And then you're like, oh, I can't really climb today. And you have to rest. And the next day you're still really creaky. Weirdly, actually, the first time I went to Rocklands, it might even have been my first. I think it was actually my first day. Yeah, it was. It was my first day in Rocklands. We went to Roadside, where that thing that Katie wants to try is.
I don't know.
Pendragon.
Pendragon.
Yeah, I was trying that.
I want to try that too.
And I was trying the end bit, and there's like a wide move where you like go out left to a crimp. Yeah, that's it. And you're in like a pretty wide position, and I felt my shoulder feel like a bit sore over here, a bit like weird. And I was like, oh, it doesn't feel great or whatever. And it started to feel painful. I was like, I really want to do this boulder. Like, how cool would it be to do an 8A on my first day in Rocklands? Like, I'd be really psyched to do that. I kept trying. I tried again, and on the next go, all I heard was like, it was like I tore my rotator cuff. The next day, I'm not kidding, I couldn't lift my fucking arm up. I was like, oh my god, like I couldn't lift my arm up.
And that just goes to show you that your body is telling you when you're breaking.
Yeah. And I just, that was just overzealous, over keen. Straight from traveling, straight off the flight, not really thinking properly, and like, oh, I could, and I hurt myself. Like, it was bad. Like, I couldn't. I climbed after, and the rest of the trip was kind of okay, but there was certain stuff that I was avoiding, and it was bad for months after. So.
But how would you approach like climbing days in general on trips? Like, what is your typical like? How would you approach your climbing days? Like, is it 3 days on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off?
I think it depends on the trip, doesn't it? And I think to try in the start of a trip to climb a few more days on. I think at the start of a trip I'd rather go 2 on, 1 off if I can. So like maybe, at least in my head, I've already started to think, okay, maybe first day in Rocklands I'll try monkey wedding, a bit more crimpy. Second day maybe I'll try spray of light or something in that cave, and then I'll have a rest day, see how I feel. I think then maybe I might decide, you know what, I'm in shit shape, I can't do these 2 boulders, let's just try and climb 8A to 8B for the rest of the trip and do that. And then I might decide to go 2 days on, 1 day off for the rest of the trip. Yeah. Or after trying those 2 boulders and maybe feeling like, okay, well, one of these could be possible, I might decide to stay 2 day on, 1 day off for a little bit longer, and then go 1 day on, 1 day off.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed with our Switzerland trip, because I was trying to get you to do 1 day, 1 off, 1 day on, 1 day off.
But at the start, I didn't. Yeah. Because I knew we had 5 weeks.
And you were like, no. You were quite adamant. I was like, no, and which is good. Like, you were like, no, I want to do 2 days on, 1 day off. Yeah. Because you knew that you were like, I want to try this hard boulder, and then I'm going to go try something else. I'll do some other boulders and actually get some stuff done. Yeah. For me, I'm always 2 days on, 1 day off. Okay. That's like.
But except until you get into like.
Until I get into project mode, and then it's 1 day on, 1 day off. Yeah. That's the way I approach it. Yeah. And it also depends how close that project is. Like, if I feel like, I can do this like quite easily.
Yeah. Then you'll go day on.
Then I'll go day on, day off, 100%.
Yeah. If you feel like it's a project that might take 4, 5, 6 sessions, and you've got the length of time on a trip, you might go 2 day on, 1 day off. Just to like, so you're not climbing on it for. Yeah. Because the thing is, if you have 6 sessions on something back to back. Yeah. Like day on, day off. The
and
cumulative.
Don't try and climb on anything else.
Yeah, don't climb on anything else. The cumulative fatigue of that is pretty significant for most people anyway. Like. Yeah.
You also got to accept, like, if you do 1 day, 1 off, 1 day on, 1 day off, you do got to accept that, like, I might walk away from this trip not doing this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you might walk.
You're more likely to like not do something else. Yeah. And walk away from the trip not doing something. Yeah. And you know,
Yeah.
I had this experience in Switzerland where I went one day on, one day off to do Ipatici.
I portici.
Ipatici, as they
Yeah,
say
say it
in Italy. Otherwise, they don't know what you're talking about.
No,
and
they
that's
don't
the truth
understand.
as well.
That is the
The
truth.
amount of times that I said to people
I portici,
Ipatici,
and they're like,
and they went, "What the hell is
oh,
that?"
I don't know that one.
And then
Portici.
they went, "Do you mean Ipatici?" And I
Portici.
was like, "Yeah,
that
yeah,
one. That's
that
the
one."
one. They get
They're
it
like, "Oh,
eventually. the Fred one.
the Fred Nicole 8A plus
Yeah.
classic." I was like, "Yeah, that one."
But yeah, I think if you the problem I think with like day on day off on something near your limit is that you're trashing your skin and your muscles in the same places again and again.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw a little bit with Ipatici.
Yeah.
I've seen it with loads of different projects where, you know, and that's why like some of the trips that I go on
I
now.
would definitely approach it differently.
Yeah. I mean,
100%.
I've done it as well where I've done it on trips. I've just tried one boulder, and that's why I think like when we went to Swiss last time, I was trying to try dagger a little bit as well and try and force myself to try it.
Yeah.
Just to try
You
something
got a
that's
bit lucky on that one as
different
well.
to the thing that you
With the conditions.
it was perfect.
it
But
was
like
like perfect.
I think it's
conditions.
useful trying different, you know, if you've got like, I would almost encourage people to have, and I always encourage myself now to have more than one project on a trip that's in a different style.
Yeah.
Because I think it's too easy for that cumulative fatigue to kind of on the skin and the muscles to add up and make it so that you actually start to you detrain, you get worse at like everything else.
Yeah.
Which is again something I was talking about with Sai yesterday. But you also then you're just punishing the same skin and the same muscle groups, and you start you'll kind of do this. You get better, and then suddenly you start to do that. And then when you start to do that, suddenly, because you've only been climbing on that one boulder, if you try and go back to other boulders, it's really hard then.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can't climb 8A now. We're like 3 weeks into this trip. I can't climb another 8A because I've just spent all my time on this one very specific moves.
My biggest problem with that though is like, like for me on Ipatici is like it was so fun. Like
and you're
I
enjoying
genuinely
it.
just like loved going there. Like even if I was falling off, I was like, I mean, you saw it. I was like, most of the time I had a smile on my face, or I'd walk away going, okay, I didn't do it, but like I'd be like, but I'm psyched to get back there again.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard bit is like trying to disorient. No, what's the word I'm trying to
Disassociate.
Disassociate from like those feelings of like, okay, this is fun. But also, it'd be fun trying other things at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to be... It's quite hard, I think, to be robust mentally enough to say... Because, I mean, you spent... Well, we had a 5-week trip, and you spent... It would have been, what, 2.5?
2.5 weeks on.
About half the trip on one boulder.
But that was like, you know, day on, day off. And also, like,
there
was a couple of bad days where we had a couple of, like, rainy days and snowy days.
But my point is that if you can spend... Like, I was with you the whole time. You could spend 2.5 weeks on one boulder, not do it, and come away and not be completely demotivated, dejected. Yeah, you had I could tell you were a bit disappointed, and you were a bit like, oh, this is annoying.
Oh, yeah, it sucks,
but then
like
you reach that point where you're like, do you know what, I've let it go. I'm looking forward now to coming back to it.
And now I'm going back in December to try it again, you know? It's like...
And I think if you can do that, that's the thing I think a lot of people struggle to do. I mean, I've struggled to do it in the past as well. But I think
I also struggle with it as well, you know, that like it's hard for me, like at the minute, like I wouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Like especially with my mindset now of like it's you know, it's a little bit short. I'm a little bit struggling with climbing.
Yeah.
Just because of like, you know, 2 years of constant injuries back to back.
But you're lucky you're going on a climbing trip where you've not been there before.
Yeah.
We're going with a good group of people.
Yeah. That I know is going to be
totally
fun.
New. Yeah.
And fun, like they're going to be fun to be around. You know, we've hung out with Kate a little bit now, and
you can just climb on different boulders. I think is the main thing. You're not going to somewhere that you've been before and like, okay, I want to do X boulder. You might get there and you might be like, oh, I'd actually really want to try this or that, and I'm going to sink a week into this or that. But I think you're more likely to go there and want to try. Those guys trying this 7C, I'll try that. They're trying this 7B, I'll try that. They're trying this 8A, I'll try that.
And I know after our like last little excursion to North Wales, I had so much fun. Like we had 3 days of climbing. Yeah. I barely put the camera on. I just like was like, all I care about on this trip is just like try and keep my fingers safe. Just climb a couple of boulders, lower the grade, lower the expectation that I have, and just have some fun. And I tell you all, like those 3 days was so fun.
Yeah.
Like I would
have enjoyed it more if we wouldn't have been in 2 limestone caves, like.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah, you never want to. I mean, I actually enjoyed the GOP, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the GOP's cool.
I know you didn't as much.
I like the GOP. No, I do, and I would have enjoyed the GOP way more had I not been there before and done some of the stuff. And then,
and you've pretty much done
I'm kind of like,
there.
well, not everything, but I'm returning to somewhere where I'm like, well, I did this. And that's another thing that's hard, isn't it? Is when you go somewhere where you're like, oh, this A+ year, I did this in one session, like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And here I am, 11 years down the line. I'm like, oof.
But
I can't do this.
But then again, it's like, you got to remember, you have a finger injury.
Yeah.
You didn't want to push it. If you didn't have your finger injury, you would have done that climbing.
I would have, yeah.
It's just reminding yourself that, like, and this is a good part of the conversation now, because this is like just going to show with the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
You know, we all think that way as well, and it's just reminding yourself, like, hey,
it plays a big part.
My pulley's a bit buggered. Okay, I did this 11 years ago, whatever it was, in a session. But you didn't have a pulley injury then.
Yeah.
Of course you did in a session.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it now because you're conscious of what's going on with your finger. You're not going to want to try really hard because you don't want to piss it off.
Yeah, it was the mode that I described of what I would probably do on Monkey Wedding was the mode I was in that day.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I'll try this one move, or I'll try that one move, drop off. Try that another move, drop off.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're 100% and you're going for it, you ain't dropping off after like.
No, you
just go in.
Try as many links as possible.
Yeah. And you're just trying to do it.
Yeah.
So
just reminding yourself, like, you know, and it's so easy to slip into, you know, what you just said.
Well,
it's like,
even when you're not injured, that's the thing. When you're not injured and you go back to something you've done before and you can't do, you're like, I'm returning to this. I've done it before. Why can't I do it now? But I think, and those are harder because you haven't got an injury as an excuse. But a lot of the time, I'm kind of trying to remind myself, hang on. You may not have improved in this very particular thing, but you've improved in a lot of other areas. Like, there's things that I've done since then that there is no way I would have done in 2014 when I did Paper Birds. No way.
Yeah.
So, are there a few things maybe that I could do then that I could... Even if there's a few things that I could do then that I can't do now, which I don't think there are, there might be a few things that I did then that I would find harder now.
Yeah.
There's still this other huge wealth of climbing that I can do now that I couldn't do then. And I think that's kind of, it goes back to what we were talking about the last time we tried it, about like marginal gains and always finding, if you're not constantly looking for those little areas to improve in, you're leading yourself into down the line being in that situation where you're like, well, I could do this before and I can't do it now. And there's actually not that much other stuff that you can do that you couldn't do before.
And I think we can set ourselves back with this as well. So I remember when I was with Lattice, and I was getting coached by Billy, and I remember like just constantly like complaining about the stretching.
Right.
And you know, it's like typical climber, I don't want to stretch.
Well, you were immobile as shit though.
Yeah, and I was and you know, I'm a lot more mobile now than I was.
And you've seen a difference.
But that's because I was like, you know, how can I complain about plateauing if I'm not willing to like do the things that will help gain my climbing performance? Like, I remember messaging Billy and be like, why do I feel like I don't want to do this? And I remember his response, and he was like, look, if you don't want to do it, then you don't want to progress. Like, if that's the mindset you have, like, if you're not willing to put in the effort in order to do the things that you don't want to do, then why are you even thinking about progressing in climbing? Like, you have to push yourself, and that's the only way you're gonna get better is by like. And now I stretch before every session, and I stretch after my session sometimes. It's like, just do it.
I've never seen you stretch,
mate. Yes, you have, you liar.
I've never seen you stretch,
mate. I can do the frog pretty well now.
Yeah, you're much better than you used to be, and it makes a difference, doesn't it? You do notice a difference. I think stretching is like one of those things that you don't necessarily see.
But that could be anything. I just mean,
a lot of things you don't see.
You know, if you suck
I know
at
what you're
slopers,
saying.
like, okay,
they're gonna come up.
More often than not, you're gonna see slopers in font.
But they're gonna come up, aren't they?
But they're gonna come up. You know,
it's like,
try them.
I think you only have to be weak. You know, you could say, oh man, I just want to climb Vecchio Leone, but I'm shit at pinches. You could be good at every other aspect of that boulder, but if you're not strong at a pinch, you ain't doing the boulder.
You ain't doing it.
And that's the big thing, really. I think is, and that's why I like to think about specifics of like boulders that I want to do, because yes, okay, you can say, okay, I want to be fully well-rounded to be able to be really, really good at everything, which I think you can be pretty well-rounded, but I don't think anyone can necessarily be like a master at everything.
No.
I do think you should really
Focus on
the things that you were good at and
yeah.
getting better at those. But if I'm thinking, okay, I want to do Vecchio Leone, and what's perceived as the crux of Vecchio Leone is a move off a pinch. Then I'm gonna get good at pinches.
And it's holding it with the drop knee as well. I
yeah,
think that's what
exactly,
sometimes.
in that like twisted position. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, how I've tried to approach stuff, and I think, at least for me, that's made it so that generally when I've gotten to the boulders that I really wanted to try, there wasn't this one thing that like, I can do all of the rest of the moves, but this one move is like so hard, like I just can't do this one move, because I'm not necessarily really well rounded, but I've thought about the things that I'm really gonna want to do. Yeah. To the point where I've said, okay, I need to just make sure that when I get on that boulder, I'm good enough. And that's kind of what I did with this little monkey wedding replica, was, you know, the bits that I wanted it to be was the wide positions, so that I was,
because that's the bit you're gonna,
because I know that's the bit I'm going to struggle on. It's just comfortable being in that wide position and going from wide to narrow.
Yeah.
'Cause I know if I can do that bit, the rest I can, you know, I can do. So, yeah. But other than kind of starting that trip out on like 7B, 7Cs, is there anything that you think you really want to do?
Again, it's like, you know, this is going to be a bit Debbie Downerish, but like, I think on trips I normally am a bit more psyched and a bit more like, I can't wait to go on this trip, you know. It's like, but I don't feel like that at the minute, and that's just the truth, you know. I know when I'll be there it'll be different because I'll be with my friends, and I know the mood will change, but at the minute, you know, 3 days ago my finger was fine. I woke up this morning and my finger's the worst it's ever been. It's like, it's hard to get psyched, to look at videos, to want to do the things I want to do, to even think I can do any of the stuff that I want to do, because of the position I'm in. So it's just trying to hone my brain in to be like, calm down, you're gonna be fine. And most of the time, like, usually I know you've talked about this, like, sometimes you have the best trip of your life.
Yeah, I've had some of the best trips I've ever had. Yeah,
like,
because like I said, you don't have expectations, do you? And those are so much of the time the better trips, because you're not holding yourself to any standard or holding yourself to like, last trip I did this, so this trip I should be able to do that.
But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm not gonna sit here and talk about and pretend like, I'm gonna be real and be like, look, I'm not looking forward to this trip a little bit, because I have my injuries, you know. You need to be,
because it's costing you like arm and a leg.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
But I promise you, and the thing is, you know, like you just
said,
you know you will enjoy it.
Yeah, I know I'm going to enjoy it.
And you know you'll get there and you'll be like, my finger, I think actually rock will probably do your finger better than
100%. It always does, anyway. Like, and the thing is that, you know, I'll talk about it, I don't care, but like, I have real bad anxiety, depression and that, and I think it's really good to talk about this because it's Men's Mental Health Month. But just, you know, struggling with my own insecurities as well. Like, I think my anxiety just shines through when it comes to like the pressure of going on to a trip. Like, I'm really like anxious about, like, I want it to go well. I just want to have fun. I don't want to be on this trip being miserable, and because like, you know, it's like being on a trip or something is miserable. It's just it's a ball ache. It just pisses
I've
you
been
off.
The miserable guy.
Yeah, and I have as well, you know, and like I've talked about it on our last podcast, you know, I've been that miserable person as well. It's not fun to be around. I want to be that fun person. So that just gives me like a lot of anxiety and stress, and like I just want it to be a good trip. I don't want there to be like, I need to do this, I need to do that.
Well, the fact that you don't have that, I think is good. Like, I think the best thing we probably can do is detune a little bit out of the I want to do this or I want to do that, which I think you kind of already have, and then tune more into I want to have fun, I want to see a load of different boulders, I want to, you know, eat some nice food, I want to just go and have a good time, maybe not eat some nice food.
I'm gonna struggle.
Well, there's no chickens and there's no eggs, so you're in trouble.
I'm gonna be experimenting on this trip, let me tell you.
So, but no, I think it's always one of those things. Once you're there, you will be totally fine, and we'll have a nice time. It's just
I knew that as well. Like, deep down inside of me, I know that this is going to be so fun. Yeah. But like I said, it's just the anxiety of the build up of like, what's it going to be?
I think watching some videos would probably help. I mean, I just like, I forgot to send you the link to those videos I was saying about, but I've started watching videos again recently of just some of the older Rocklands footage. you know, for me, it's always like nostalgia. Like I went back and watched those videos of the ones that those guys made, and there's about 6 of them, and they're all like 5 to 10 minutes long. Music's cool. They're just like a nice little vibe, and it just, I don't know, it makes it feel more like just sort of like an experience for me rather than just climbing. And there's like 7Bs in there, there's 7Cs in there, there's, you know, a lot of the landscape in there, the wildlife, and that's, I think,
I mean, I remember
should help.
You know, when I was thinking back when I first started climbing, and then obviously I come across your videos, and I was like, and then I come across your Rockland videos, and I was like, man, this like, what's that boulder that's on like your profile picture on Facebook?
Oh, Tea with El Marie.
And like the back shot of that,
yeah,
and I was like, man, that looks like the most
crazy,
beautiful place. Like I remember watching that video and going, that's where I want to go. Whenever there's an opportunity, I don't care if I have to sell an arm and a fucking leg to get there, I want to go to that place. Yeah. And that's the thing I need to just remind myself. Yeah. I'm going to this place.
Yeah, you're just gonna go and you're gonna just be
have
there
fun.
And
just enjoy the fact that you're in nature and like it's beautiful, it's amazing. Yeah. It's like,
and it'll be an experience going there as well as. And
you've been there. Like this will be your 3rd time now as well, so you've got to experience that 3 times.
Yeah. And I think maybe I normally get more excited by climbing trips to places I've never been.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy that more, that kind of first like discovery of a place. Like I make up this
you don't know the paths, you don't know where you're going.
You don't know anything.
You have to figure things out.
Because do you know what's weird as well is in my head when I see videos of boulders, right, I make up the world around it. Yeah. The other day, I was watching one of the old Rocklands videos, because obviously then when you go, then the world you make up the world around it that you made up in your head. It isn't real. There's another world around it. So like if you're watching a video of a boulder, suddenly then you know what it looks like around the other side of the boulder. You know what it looks like at the path.
And the boulders are not where you thought they would be. So you thought this boulder would be here, and you're like, it's over there.
Yeah,
I didn't
strange.
expect this to be
or like you look at the dagger and you're like, oh my god, Dreamtime's the other side. Yeah, or whatever it is. But I watched this video the other day of those boulders from Rocklands, and I was looking at this boulder in the video, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching this video before I knew what that all looked like, and now it looks so different to how I imagined it then. And it kind of reminded me of this. It reminded me of the feeling that I have that I love of when I've not been somewhere and I get to go somewhere and then kind of make like the world all kind of comes to life a little bit. I know it's kind of weird, but yeah, I think it's discovery, I suppose, isn't it? And we're doing it on like a micro little scale of just going to look at little boulders.
Well, I'm doing it on a bigger scale because I've not been there before.
Yeah. I just mean in general.
Yeah.
We in terms of discovery, we're like going to look at small rocks, like. Yeah. But you know, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more than fun. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Especially for like your head and stuff and mental health. And there's no better feeling, man.
Yeah.
Getting on top of a boulder. There's no better feeling.
Yeah,
whether it's a 7A, a 6C, a 6A. Yeah. Like and to me, like that's even like when you go to the crag and you see like someone who's just started climbing and they get to the top of their first boulder and you see the excitement on their face. Whether it's a 5+, a 5A, a 6A, a 6A plus, a 6B, 8C, you know, that smile is not different. It's the same smile no matter what. They're still excited. They're still psyched. It's still the best feeling they've ever felt. Getting on top of a boulder. And yeah, I mean you've experienced it more than anyone, but
yeah.
What about managing trips with like, because I know we've experienced this quite a lot. What about managing trips with 3 people who climb different grades?
Yeah, that's quite hard.
This is hard because we've dealt with this now 2 trips in a row.
Yeah, and one of my clients had a trip recently as well with some other people, and struggled with that more like group atmosphere. I think the first thing on like outsets of trips like that is knowing what you want to get out of the trip, being honest with yourself and saying, okay, do I want to try, am I willing to try anything, or do I want to try X, Y, and Z boulder? I think if you want to try X, Y, and Z boulder, you need to be honest with the people you're going with and say, look, I want to try X, Y, and Z at some point during this day or during this trip. I don't mind so much. If you don't mind, when that is. Just say, I don't mind so much when that is, but at some point I want to go to these boulders. And then say the rest of the time I'm happy to come wherever you want to go, spot you, because you know most people can't climb for like more than 3 hours a day. So I think if you're generally accepting, okay, I can climb for like 3 hours and then the rest of the day I'll chill, I think just be honest with people and say, look, at some point I want to do this, the rest of the time we can do what you want to do. If you're more specific, like, look, this boulder gets the sun in the afternoon, do you mind if we get up early on this day, go to this boulder, I'll try it, and then the rest of the day we can chill. If you don't mind climbing, when it's a bit warmer during the day.
And also as well, like, if you're like me and you like climbing more in the morning.
Yeah.
I prefer climbing more in the afternoon, so we work
really
well.
Split it that way, yeah.
And then like our friend Zoe is more of like a middle person. She's not really bothered if it's morning or afternoon. She's like, then it's a fine balance. Then you climb in the morning, Zoe climbs in the middle. I climb in the afternoon.
But I think also being honest with how, like, I'm selfish about it. I think a lot of us are, and I think you need to sort of be as kind of honest and open about that as you can, and then if you're willing to make compromise, make compromise. If you're not, you're not. Or if you're not willing to make compromise and you're not willing to do what other people want to do to some extent, then don't have that person be like, don't have that person be in the same car as you, or don't go on group trips essentially. If you feel like you want to do exactly what you want to do all of the time, then go on a trip on your own, or go on a trip with one other person who shares the same sort of goals that you do. Because is it easy to, I mean, we had it when we went in December last year. You're climbing in Ticino, in Coronico Brione in the snow in December or January, and I want to have a 3-hour session on something. You want to have a 3-hour session on something, and Zoe wants to have a 3-hour session on something. That's 9 hours of climbing. Yeah. And
it's freezing cold. We're going to different places. We're carrying pads.
So if you're not
bringing enough food out with me,
you ain't bringing shit. If you're not willing to sit for 6 hours essentially in the cold, watching other people climb
and being supportive and helping,
then you shouldn't really go on a climbing trip with other people. And is it at times tricky to do that, and you just lie in a crash pad and have a nap or something? It's not always easy, especially when it's cold. When the weather's like sunny and it's warm and it's lovely, and you can just sit, it's a piece of piss most of the time. And that's what it'll be like. I mean, in Africa obviously we've a bit more flexibility, and there's 8 people.
And that's what I was going to lead on to, because there's like 10 of us going.
Yeah.
And like,
but the benefits,
I think we're going to like manage.
Well, that should be fine. I think, we've got 1 vehicle between the 2 of us. Those guys have got 2 vehicles between the 8 of them.
And
so
that's what I was going to say. Like,
ensure that you've got your own transport.
Ensure that you've got your own transport, because I know that, especially with you and me, I know you like to just get up and get out.
Well, we haven't got a choice on this trip anyway, so we've got to be up
choice because we are time constraints because of the fires and stuff. But I know with you like to get up. Me, I'm not so bothered as much, but I know we need to on this trip because of the time constraints. But like, why are we then gonna not get our own vehicle and like be reliant on other people? Maybe they're a bit slower, maybe they're a bit like who knows? You have to be able to cater for yourself.
I think you
as well as like be with other people.
You have to know who you're going with, don't you, and know what their expectations are, and like I said, be honest with what you want out of it. Because do I want to be sat around in the house until 12 o'clock waiting for someone to get up before we leave the place? No, I don't.
No.
If someone, if I went on a trip with someone who wanted to do that, I mean, I'd be pretty unhappy. I generally wouldn't. I would
be very unhappy.
I think in general, you as long as you've got your own mode of transportation, you're pretty sorted, really, aren't you? But then, you can still be selfish and not kind of allow for other people's plans and stuff as well. So
I think another important thing as well, because I've dealt with this before, and I'm probably sure you have as well. It's like, do you deal with like people like maybe like afraid to climb with you? And I've got a point to this, and it's more just like, my point is like, what are your favorite type of people to climb with? Like, are you someone who needs someone who's like stronger than you? Are you someone who needs like someone who's weaker than you? Are you like, or do you just generally need someone who's like a bit fun, a bit good, like a bit easygoing? Like, what is it that you need in order for your session to feel like Or do you just need, like you said, I know you sometimes just need to be by yourself sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of my climbing's on my own and karate climbing on my own. Some of the time, I like being with people. I like being with people who are analytical and who will work out boulders or look for other shit. You know, like look for tweaks or like, you're doing this a bit differently, or you're doing that. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that kind of problem solving aspect, and that's why I quite like climbing with you, because we can do that quite a lot. And to be fair, a lot of the people I've climbed with, like,
And
over
so,
the years
okay,
have that.
I've got another one this time. So, like, how do you manage, like, you climb 8C, yeah? Or have climbed multiple 8Cs. I've only climbed 8 plus. How is it easy to manage taking, like, being, like, getting analytical advice from someone who doesn't even climb as hard as you?
Well,
Because I know that people struggle with this.
Well, when it works, I'm more than happy to take it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I think as long as you listen, I don't know. I actually don't know that many people who have climbed at a high level who aren't open to listening to what other people have to say. I've generally found the more dismissive people are, I don't know, maybe people who operate in a middle range. I don't know. That's what I found anyway. I don't think I've climbed with anyone in that I'd consider really high level that isn't willing to take on ideas.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, my mate Ant will say something to me. He'll be like, "Oh, why didn't you try this?" And I'd be like, "You were talking shit. Like, there's no way that's gonna work." And I'll try it and it doesn't work. Sometimes he will suggest something, but the point is I will try it.
Yeah.
But sometimes he will suggest something and I'll be like, "That's not gonna work," and it works.
Yeah.
So I think, as long as once you've been proved wrong a couple of times, and whoever it is, somebody has said something, you thought, I didn't really think of that, I'll try it. As long as you try it, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, you can try it and then kind of dismiss it, no problem. But I think, you should always, I think, be willing to, at least I try and always be willing to.
Some of the best coaches in climbing are not the best climbers.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the perfect example of it.
It's hard when you're having a bad day, probably, to listen to somebody else's opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think I've had that with you sometimes as well, and you've had it with me as well. You're having such a shit day, and you're like, just stop coming at me with your stupid shit. I can't be dealing with this now.
But I think those are often the times probably where you need to listen more, because you need to be
listen.
snapped out of your little mindset a little bit, and like, look, calm down, and let's try and find a solution to this or that, or maybe you need to rest more, maybe you need to try, like, this move's looking really weird today, what can you tweak? So I'd say that's pretty accurate to the sort of the shape we're in 2.5 weeks out from the trip. And I guess some things that we're thinking about in the run up to that trip, or things you can think about generally in the run up to trips, or just thinking about trips in general. I think maybe it would be useful to do another podcast just about climbing trips, and like the nuances and the intricacies of going on them, and how, because I think climbing trips are one of those big ones that you can go on one, have an amazing experience and want to do it again, or you can go on one with the wrong attitude and the wrong mentality, spend a load of money and have a shit time and think, I ain't doing that again.
Just wasted nearly $3,000 in this trip.
Yeah, so
Time to go.
because there's so much more, there's more money involved, there's more time involved, there's more investment, which generally then means higher risk, higher reward, isn't it? So if it doesn't pay off, you're like, oh my god, that was shit, I don't want to do that again. So yeah, maybe that's something we look at in another episode. But until then, nice one.
Nice one.
Let's go and have a session somewhere.
Bosh.
Good stuff.
Easy.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening.